For chapter 4.6, we're still going to be multiplying polynomials like we did in section 4.5, except these are going to be what we call special products. So there's going to be some shortcuts that we can use for these ones. So starting with squaring a binomial. So recall that a binomial is a two-termed polynomial. So if we're squaring a polynomial, so if we have like a plus b squared, the shortcut way for this is going to be, the answer is going to be a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So just kind of keep in mind here that a plus b squared does not equal a squared plus b squared. And that goes for a minus b squared as well. A minus b squared equals a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So this isn't something, I do recommend that you memorize this shortcut. If you don't memorize it though, just keep in mind that a plus b squared equals a plus b times a plus b. When you FOIL that out, you get a squared plus ab plus ab plus b squared. And then you combine like terms, which are those two middle terms. You get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, which is the shortcut mentioned above. So that's, if you don't remember that shortcut, you just have to FOIL it out. But definitely knowing that shortcut will be a little bit, save you a little bit of time. So let's multiply these examples. So x plus 4 times x plus 4. So it's going to be, based on that shortcut above, it's going to be the first one squared, so x squared, plus 2 times them being multiplied together, plus the last one squared. So it's x squared plus 8x plus 16. And then if you did not have that memorized, you would say that x plus 4 squared equals x plus 4 times x plus 4. You would FOIL it out and get x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. And then you would combine those two middle terms to get x squared plus 8x plus 16, which is obviously what we just got. And then doing that last one here, x minus 7 squared. So based on the shortcut, it's going to be the first one squared minus, because it's subtracting here, 2 times 7 times x, so then both multiplied together, first and second term, and then plus 7 squared. So it's x squared minus 14x plus 49. And once again, just keep in mind that x minus 7 squared is x minus 7 times x minus 7, and then you could FOIL it out from there. Okay, let's do a couple more. So 3x plus 5 squared. So this is going to be, I'm going to use the shortcut again. The first one squared plus 2 times the terms multiplied together plus the last one squared. So this is going to be 9x squared plus 2 times 5 times 3 is 30, so 30x, plus 5 squared, which is 25. So you can see why, if you know the shortcut, you can probably see that this is a lot quicker. And next, for the 4m plus 1/2 all squared, so it's going to be the first one squared plus 2 times both of these multiplied together, so 1/2 times 4m, plus the last one squared. 4m squared is 16m squared. 2 times 1/2 times 4, 2 times 1/2 is 1, 1 times 4 is 4, so plus 4m, and the 1/2 squared is 1/4. Next one, we have x times 4x minus 3 squared, so obviously it gets a little bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the x out front, and now I'm going to do the 4x minus 3 squared. So 4x minus 3 squared is going to be first one squared, minus, because we're subtracting here, minus 2 times the two terms multiplied together, plus the last one squared. So x times 16x squared minus 2 times 3 times 4 is 24x plus 9. And now we just have to distribute the x into those three terms. So 16x cubed minus 24x squared plus 9x. Okay, so that's the shortcut for multiplying two binomials. So for this next thing, multiplying the sum and difference of two terms. So we have the same two terms in the binomial terms, in a binomial expression. One of them is addition, the other one's subtraction. We're going to multiply them together. So when we multiply a minus b times a plus b, we end up getting a squared minus b squared. So the first one squared minus the second one squared. So definitely know this shortcut because it will come back into play. Oops. So to see why this is, let's FOIL it out. So a minus b times a plus b. We would get a squared plus ab. And then we would get minus ab minus b squared. The middle terms cancel, right? They're the same like terms, ab minus ab. And we're left with a squared minus b squared. Okay, so just a little note here. A plus b and a minus b are something called conjugates. So they're the same two terms in each binomial. One's addition, one's subtraction. So we call them conjugates. So that's going to be something that comes back into play a little bit later on. So let's multiply these examples using this rule. So x minus 3 times x plus 3. So we notice that they're the same two terms. One's addition, one's subtraction. So it's going to be the first one squared minus the second one squared. So x squared minus 3 squared, so x squared minus 9. Or, I'll put on the side, or FOIL it. Next one, we have y plus 1/4 times y minus 1/4. We recognize they're the same two terms. One's addition, one's subtraction. So it's the first one squared minus the second one squared. So it's going to be y squared minus 1/4 squared is 1/16. Next one, 5y plus 4 times 5y minus 4. Same two terms, one's addition, one's subtraction. First one squared minus the second one squared. That's going to be 25y squared minus 16. Once again, you can probably see why it's a lot easier knowing the shortcut for this. So you don't have to FOIL it, you just recognize it and do the quick little rule. Last one here, we have p times 2p plus 1 times 2p minus 1. So I'm going to leave that p out front for now. 2p minus 1, or 2p plus 1 times 2p minus 1, same two terms, addition and subtraction. So first one squared minus the second one squared. 2p squared is 4p squared. 4p squared minus 1. So now we have to distribute that p, so it's 4p cubed minus p. Okay, so that is multiplying a plus b times a minus b. So let's do one more page here. So now we'll be finding greater powers of these binomials. So we were having them squared so far, so now we can have them cubed, we can have them to the 4th power, we can have them to the 5th power. So with cubed, a plus b cubed, we just have to keep in mind that that's a plus b times a plus b times a plus b. A plus b to the 4th would be a plus b times a plus b times a plus b times a plus b, and so on. So there are shortcut rules for this also. You can actually figure them out if you really wanted to by multiplying a plus b for like the cubed one, a plus b times a plus b times a plus b, and combine like terms, you'd be able to find the shortcut for it, but kind of unnecessary. So let's do these by kind of doing it the long way. So multiply x plus 4 cubed. So we have to keep in mind that this is x plus 4 times x plus 4 times x plus 4 because it was cubed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply these two together. I'm going to leave that first one untouched out front. x plus 4 times x plus 4, that's going to be x squared plus 8x plus 16. So if you don't believe me, you can FOIL that out, or you can use the shortcut that we've been doing. So once we have this, now what we can do is now we're just multiplying a binomial times a trinomial. So we have to multiply each x. We have to multiply x into each term in the second one, and then 4 into each term in the second one. So multiplying the x, we get x cubed plus 8x squared plus 16x. And then multiplying the 4, we get plus 4x squared plus 32x plus 64. Now we have to combine like terms. We get x cubed, 8x squared plus 4x squared plus 12x squared. 16x plus 32x, we get plus 48x, and then plus that 64. Okay, so obviously a little bit more work than some of the other ones, but still very doable. For this last one here, x minus 2 to the 4th. So we have to keep in mind this is x minus 2 multiplied together 4 times. So x minus 2 times x minus 2 times x minus 2 times x minus 2. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply these first ones together and then separately multiply those second ones together. So x minus 2 times x minus 2, that's going to give us x squared minus 4x plus 4. Once again, if hopefully you can see why I got that. If not, FOIL it out or use the shortcut. So the next one's going to be the same exact thing because it's the same thing, x minus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, so now we have a trinomial times a trinomial, so we just have to multiply each term in the first one to each term in the second one. So I'm multiplying the x squared throughout the second one. We get x to the 4th minus 4x cubed plus 4x squared. Now multiplying the negative 4x into the second one, we get minus 4x cubed plus 16x squared minus 16x. Lastly, multiplying the 4, we get plus 4x squared minus 16x plus 16. And then we just have to combine like terms. So we end up getting x to the 4th. We have an x cubed term here, x cubed term here. Negative 4 minus 4, that's negative 8x cubed. And then next for the squared, we have 4x squared plus 16x squared plus 4x squared. So 4 plus 16 plus 4 is 24 plus 24x squared. And then for the x term, we have negative 16x minus 16x. That gives us minus 32x. And then lastly, we have plus that 16. Okay, so all the terms are combined. It's in standard form, descending order in terms of the exponents. So that would be our answer for that one. Okay, so that's it for chapter 4.6.